Hello, hello. Welcome to everyone who is on. Welcome to the Freedom Paper Love Letters listening party, invite only to subscribers to opalellyse.com. So if you are here, thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. We did this for Protect the Queen, and it was so much fun that I wanted to come and do it again. As you know, I do not keep the count, so I don't know if there's one person on here. I don't know if there's 100 people on here. I don't know if there's a million people on here. It doesn't matter to me because we are going to get into it. For those of you just joining, for those of you who don't know, for those of you who stumbled upon this YouTube page, please know that this is the Freedom Paper Love Letters listening party. What we like to do is go through each of the tracks. I give a little bit of background on the track, what it felt, what it meant for me. I let it play. I absolutely welcome you to comment, make comments on the live within YouTube, and let's have a conversation. Ask questions at any time. This is just you and me laid back. I apologize for my background. I am under construction with a new branded background. So right now you're kind of getting halfway. You see that side has half of my books. The other side will have half my books. And then I have my lighting, my personalized OEM lighting that is going to be up too. So you just have to bear with me. I was going to come to you from the studio couch, but I worked a little bit later today than I planned on, and I didn't have time to set that mic up in that way with the interface. So I decided instead, let me come to y'all on time so we can get in and get out, because I'm sure I'm not the only one who was working hard today. But again, if you're just tuning in, this is Freedom Paper Love Letters listening party. I dropped a surprise spoken word album on Juneteenth, right? Called Freedom Paper Love Letters for a very good reason. It is my third spoken word album, third studio spoken word album that I'm dropping. The first one I dropped in 2019 called My Name is Opal. And then I dropped Protect the Queen end of 23. Yeah, end of 20. I think it was end of 23, if I'm not mistaken. And then I dropped in Freedom Paper Love Letters, just dropped June 2026. So bringing you consistent pieces, consistent poems, and love to do these listening parties live on YouTube just because it captures some of the essence and gives me the ability to really connect with some of my subscribers. My daughter's always telling me that I neglect my YouTube channel, and I am sorry. I love and adore all of my faithful YouTube subscribers, and I want to make sure that I'm continuing to bring content here and we can just chill. If y'all listen to my podcast, Queensh, then you know that you be chilling with me all the time. So that's kind of the same vibe that the listening parties have. Protect the Queen listening party is still on my YouTube, so you can check that one out at any time too. But I would say let's get into Freedom Paper Love Letters. And I'll have a plug. I'm on a radio show, and that show was pre-recorded, and that will be coming out on Monday. So that will be out June 29th. And I talk a little bit about Freedom Paper Love Letters there. But I was asked on that interview, and I'm often asked all the time, okay, what types of pieces do you write about? What inspired this? And I simply said what I'll say here too. It is the state of the world. Right now, we need something that is reminding us of what freedom can look like, what freedom should look like, what freedom is in our modern times right now. And because there's so much that's trying to take it away, and there's so much division. So a theme that has always been within my poetry is social justice or social injustice. So that pops up on Freedom Paper Love Letters. That is the main theme, I would say. But it also pays homage to so many of those who came before us, our freedom fighters. I got a piece, the second track is called Freedom Fighters. There are folks that are fighting for our freedoms right now, fighting for our neighbors' freedoms right now. I want to honor them in real time, right? We don't need to wait for history books or for things to be left out like Hidden Figures. Let's do it now. So that's what I'm doing with this poetry. I have, in my fashion that I've done before, I've got a piece on here called Alex Jeffrey Pretty, just really talking about how he, lost his life senselessly, lost his life from ICE, but he was so poetic in his life. as he would say beautiful words over veterans. And I just need to honor him. So when I saw a clip about that, and I was like, let me go ahead and write that. So there's pieces in there for all of this. It's 20 tracks. 20 tracks. They're not too long though. So stay as long as you like, but this shouldn't take too long. But let's go ahead and let's get into Freedom Paper Love Letters. Welcome, welcome. I see more folks coming in. This first track is called Heroes.
Lately, my heroes ain't felt like my heroes. Matrix traps surrounded by ones and zeros. No one to hear y'all call, much less answer. Performative rant, private dancer. I'm tired of fortifying. I need to release. Hustle and bustle, need a season of peace. But the bright lights keep me up. Curiosity feels like a re-up, and we up, I mean we winning. Isn't this the dream? If I turn this in for something else, can I remain queen of my own competitive streak? Slowly but surely, I'm realizing where I've been weak. Weak to what's been told to me. Weak to what's been sold to me. Stronger than I know, but to win big, I need to fold to me. And open me to the possibility that victory laps aren't run for speed. They are run for me. To feel the love I couldn't see when I was head down, fully focused on the race. Time to feel the love from those who saw the pain on my face, but cheered I'd keep the pace and bring home the gold. Can't tell if I'm having more epiphanies or if I'm just getting
old.
I broke the mold, so why am I trying so hard to keep it all together? I can't knock it out the park if I'm playing tether. Tuscan leather cut from an incredible cloth. What if for once the flame was burned by the moth? This one's...
I mean, heroes, right? This one, starts off with, lately my heroes ain't feeling like my heroes. I think especially in modern times with all the media, all the marketing that is given to us, all the access that feels like we have to people's real lives, whether that's their real life or not. When stuff really gets real, you really start to question, okay, who am I looking up to? Who are my heroes? And this poem takes us through coming into seeing that your hero is you, right? It's you. It's you. And so this poem kind of took me down that path of that realization into who I am and how I can be my own hero and how I want us all to be our own heroes too. So that takes us right into freedom fighters. As I mentioned before, this one I wrote to pay homage to those right now, to pay homage to those who came before, to shine a light on the real life superheroes that are out here doing things for us. Because there's some real villains, right? So let's get into freedom fighters.
This one's for the freedom fighters. The peace igniters. Those working on the front line. Those making dark nights bright. The lightning starters risking it all to save just one life. You are the real life heroes in the story. We live in a society that gives the
villains all the glory.
But pouring the way you do feels more than cups. It releases more than cuffs, freeing hands from behind backs where they sat idle. You, who God sent to lead the revival, let the church say amen.
Amen.
You make the plays while the rest just pretend. What's the present tense of heaven sent? What's it like to represent the last hope of a nation? To say yes in a sea of no's and misinformation. Your clarity crystal with diamond-like precision. Harriet Tubman seeing and carrying out the vision. Fearless to the opposition or to the unknown. Ready to take down Goliath with one stone. Just so people can come home and have civil rights. This world can be complete chaos with a future unbright, but you love life more than your own. You stand for justice and don't just watch the throne. You have grown and changed in ways we can't fathom. You are the reason that I wrote Imagine. Because you make me a magnet for miracles and change follows. No empty promises, we can't remain hollow, but full of substance and love. That's a path of all understanding. You understood what the assignment was commanding, and each time you stick the landing, we leap with the light. These bars unparalleled because it is freedom that I write. This is the soundtrack to your fight. We have to fight for our right to knuckle gently It's beastly in that night. Right?
Beastly.
To whom it may concern.
Okay, beastly in that night. That piece, if you are a Shonda Rhimes fan, particularly a Shonda Rhimes Scandal fan, I almost called this piece Papa Pope rant, because there is a beautiful cadence that Shonda Rhimes writing comes through, and it comes through in a few of her shows, but it really comes, like, I think it started in Scandal and it really comes through in Scandal. So as I was writing this Freedom Fighters piece, like, that cadence just came, and I just love that. So if you go back and listen to that the next time and you're a Scandal fan, I want you to listen. It's the and she has so many characters within Scandal do that. But Papa Pope, to me, like, of course, Kerry Washington, Olivia Pope, main character, does this all the time. Classic scenes. But when you hear Papa Pope, her dad, do it, that's when you realize, okay, that's where she got it from. So for me, the Freedom Fighters, like her in Scandal, is the gladiators, right? You have this cause, you're fighting for it, you're banding with folks to do it, and that cadence just came out with the words. So little tidbit, go back and you listen to that, listen for that that Papa Pope rant cadence. To whom it may concern. This one, the title was inspired by, so y'all know, 80s baby, 90s raised. Roseanne was one of the sitcoms that was really popular in the 90s that I watched out, late 80s to early 90s. And Darlene on the show, which I was at the right age where I identified with Darlene on the show. And she was going through like this real moody phase. And then she happened to write this poem that was like fire. They were like, Darlene ain't saying nothing. And then she wrote this poem. It was just fire. And it like got all her feelings out. And it kind of helped bring her out of that state. And her poem was called To Whom It May Concern. So that inspired the title for this, because I've always associated that with powerful poetry, powerful female poetry. So that To Whom It May Concern piece, that's where the title is inspired. So I'll get into this piece and then chat a little bit about it. Welcome to those coming in. Good to see you. Thank you for joining. Like I said before, you could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. I appreciate you, and I thank you. If you got questions, please. Oh, I see a couple of comments. Hold up. I was getting into the poetry. I didn't even see the comments. The order of the album. Oh, I love that. So the question comes in from user 109 saying, can you talk, and thank you for the love in the chat, says, can you talk about the order of the album? Absolutely. So the order to me of everything is super important. The older I get, even, I notice that like order matters, right? And I work in corporate America. Most of you know that if you follow. And I tell you, people, like, order matters. You put something on the document, you're putting something in presentation, order matters. Be intentional, be strategic with that. So I'm the same way with my album. So of course it has to flow. And you'll notice on Freedom Paper Love Letters, I really didn't give you many breaks at all. There aren't too many interludes, and I'm doing something, which I may tell you, if you stay long enough, I may give you a little tidbit into what's coming next. But for this particular edition of this album, hint, I didn't give you really any breaks. I started to experiment with that a little bit on Protect the Queen, but really no breaks here. You'll notice on one, I may say this one's called, but I really just go boom, boom, boom into it. For that reason, it has to flow. So the order has to matter in terms of what was the voice that I was using in it, right? Like, it's always my voice, but how was I coming across? Was I coming across soft to tell you a story in a loving way? Was I coming across hard because I'm angry? Was I coming across really forceful because my voice is shaking and I can barely hold the emotions in, right? Those things need to match. I can't take you from one extreme to the other unless it's purposeful. The only way I can bridge that gap is depending on which word comes. So the flow piece is how I help order it. And the other piece is just really telling that story and seeing what fits and seeing what feels right. Now, I will tell you my process to do these is, of course, I write poems. So I basically was writing these poems for a long time, right here. And some of these I've had for a couple of years. Some of them I just recently wrote within the last month or two. But what I do is So I get all the pieces, and then once I figure out, okay, yeah, I think this is going to fit on this album, then I get a long list of what these poems and pieces might be. And then I record them all. So I record them all. If I'm still feeling them after they're recorded, then I mix them. If I'm still feeling them after they're mixed, then they get put into kind of the going through the funnel. They get put into that pot of, okay, these are mastered and these may be the album cuts. And then I go in and I know I'm cutting, right? I don't want it to be too long. I don't want pieces if I love them, but they just don't fit with a certain story, then I'll take them off and then I'll save them for another project, or maybe it'll be a single at some point. But then I continue to kind of narrow it down. Once I have my pieces pretty much where I think it's like I said, there's 20 tracks on this album. I think I had it around 32. Then once I got them kind of mastered, it was more like 27. And then I put them on a list, I mean, like I said, I'm type A personality. So I do type them up. Okay. I type them up, put them all on a sheet of paper. And then these are the actual ones, right? Then I cut the strips. Truth be told, I asked my daughter to cut the strips. So she cut the strips for me. But each of these is, I don't think you can see it, but yeah, each of these is a title of a piece. And then I sat them out and I kept looking at them. And because the title is Freedom Paper Love Letters, it's Freedom Paper Love Letters, right? Freedom paper, love letters written on, right? Love letters written on your freedom, for your freedom, by your freedom, with your freedom. Love telling you that you don't even need nobody else's opinion, sign off paper to give you your freedom because you were born with it, but still breaking it out into those 4 words of freedom, paper, love, and letters. So that's how I kind of put it out in those 4 sections, in those boxes. And that's where the poems and the pieces went in. So in the beginning of the album, those first set of poems are all about freedom. So we talked about heroes, then we got freedom fighters, then to whom it may concern, I just took you to, then I'm going to take you to 688, and that's going to cap our freedom piece. And then we go on to the next piece, right? Freedom paper. So the next one's all about paper. So the next one, still within the theme, but now we're talking about money. And how does money play into this theme of freedom and liberation and community and all the things that I'm talking about on this album? And then we get into love. And now we're talking about things like uninspired, crew love, pretty pictures, all of those pieces. And then you get into letters. And letters is actually, I'm so glad you asked this question. Letters is actually every last one of these pieces within the last section of this album is an open letter, just an open letter to society, an open letter to everyone, an open letter in every way. So it's the freedom, the paper, the love, and the letter. So this one was super, super intentional, right? The order's always intentional. It's got to flow for me. It's got to tell the story. I have to have some of my favorites right up front because I don't want somebody to listen. I'm not listening anymore, right? You got to have some of those, best balls up front. And then I got to keep you though. And then it has to be some favorites and I got to end strong. So this one was challenging and fun to be able to kind of fit that into freedom, paper, and love letters. Now, I didn't name this album Freedom, Paper, Love Letters because of that. It came from, I always say talent and things like that, they come from above, right? So for me, it comes from God, right? And I'm really in love with, I know I'm a poet, so of course I love words, but I'm really in love with how words sound. One of my favorite words is guitar, because it's just feel that, guitar, it's soft and it's rounded, but it's also hard. I like things like that. So it has to sound good to me. It has to sound pleasurable and juicy and amazing. And I put it together. It's freedom, paper, love letters. Just that went right. I feel the movie Harriet comes up for me. That's a movie that I absolutely love. The movie Harriet. I think my daughter and I saw it in the theater at least twice, and I don't know how many times I've seen it on TV. And I think it's maybe the only movie I've ever seen in LA. LA is my favorite city, and we saw it in LA, and I just loved it. But Freedom Papers is a big part of that movie. It's a big part of that true history. So part of it came to me in there, and I was just Freedom Paper, love letters, right? Because I'm a writer. So, but I didn't know I was going to section it off and design that. That section off piece actually came through the mixing process. And really, after I'm hearing the pieces again, I'm like, you know what? These fit. These fit. These are freedom. These are paper. These are love. These are the open letters. So beautiful question. Keep those questions coming. That's what I love to do, because those are things I'm gonna forget to share. Like if you didn't ask that question, I never would have shared that. And that might be the coolest thing about the album. Like I'm wishing that somebody asked me that at the radio interview I just did, because I love that. I just think it's cool. Everything is a big art project, right? And I love that. If you can't tell, those are the things I love. So keep those questions coming. The next one, like I mentioned, we're going to get into 6888. Now, hopefully you've seen on Netflix Tyler Perry's beautifully acted, beautifully written, beautifully creative, telling the story of the 6888 women in the military. And Kerry Washington, I did not mean to connect this with Scandal, but she stars in that one as well. And it's so good. If you haven't seen it, please see it. But let's get into 6888, and then I'll chat a little bit about that too.
Why did it take so long to learn about the 6888? Still right on time, because it's never too late. Don't underestimate hate in hiding our history, but relish in the joy of uncovering these mahogany mysteries. Hidden Figures. The Help. Alex Haley's Queen. A perfect.
Just saying. Okay. 6888, another one of those stories that we never heard about going to school, learning about history, American history, Black history. We never learned about that. And I felt the same way when I watched Hidden Figures for the first time, that we never knew about these computers, these Black women who were working for NASA, doing these beautiful things. We never learned that. And when I saw that movie, I knew it was going to be something for me. Number one, I've told that story before, but it just enlightened me so much. And I was like, well, what if we heard this earlier? And so that's what I'm questioning in this poem. Like, why does it take so long? Because it's on purpose. It is intentional, right? If you can't see it, you won't be it. If you're not exposed to it, you'll think it's a fairy tale. You'll think it's fake. You'll think it's pretend. In fact, I mentioned a couple of those stories at the end of this piece, and I say Hidden Figures. I say The Help, right? I say Alex Haley's Queen. Well, most of us know that Hidden Figures is about women at NASA. We've got, Katherine Johnson. We've got a checkbox on that. We know who that is. We know who that is now in history. Many of us know Alex Haley's Queen is a story of his great-grandmother, and that's a true story. And you might be like, well, The Help is made up. It is. However, it is based on a woman named Abilene. And her name is spelled just a little bit differently. So think about the times too, right? So it is based on these true stories that they're hiding from us. And they're hiding from us on purpose. So that's one of the reasons that I included that one, especially in freedom. Like, don't let them take some of your present freedom, because they're hiding your real history and what you come from and who you are and what can be done and what can be changed, right? If they can do all that, then we can do so much now. Looking at the chat again, thank you for the kind words on that. Someone is saying, always amazing on how thoughtful I am in the details of my work. Yeah, I love this stuff. It's real popular. People say, yeah, I geek out on this stuff, but it's more than that. I love it, right? And like I said, everything, I'm very, very faith-based. Everything comes from God, and He's so intricate in His ways and His wisdom. And I mean, even like the obedience around this, like, why'd you drop a surprise album? We didn't know the album was coming. I knew I had to drop it on June 19th. I knew I had to drop it on Juneteenth. I knew it. God said I was obedient. I didn't know if I could get it there, though. It has been an extremely crazy busy. I'm always busy, right? That's no excuse. But it's been even more of a busy spring, just with things at, work and at life and with family members, helping my mom out with things. My mom is 85. There's just been no time. But I knew for sure that I needed to drop this album on Juneteenth. My instructions were clear. Just like I knew when I dropped My Name is Opal, that I had to drop that on March 4th of 2019 when I did. And the blessings that have abounded from that are exponential. And I'm going to be real, I did not want to miss these blessings. I did not want to not be obedient because I already know. So even though my mind and my marketing mind, my strategic mind is like, no, we got to amp up. We got to, you're already an independent, relatively unknown artist. You're going to have to do way more promo. You can't just, you're not Beyonce. You can just drop on overnight and everybody goes, well, I know that. But here's what I also know. I'm God's, right? And if he says do it this day, I do it that day because I don't know what he's got lined up for me, right? I don't know what blessings have come from that, right? And again, it's so much deeper than that. Number one, I need to hear these words. Like I said, I've had a demanding, a demanding spring, okay? Demanding 2026. And the world has had a demanding 2026. Any feeling, breathing, living, loving human is having a hard time with a lot of the things that are going on in our world. And if you live in the United States like I do, it's a lot going on. So most of all my poetry is written for me first, right? So going in and recording these words that I wrote that are healing to me, then listening to them again and again and again as I'm mixing them up, right? Then listening to the masters that come back and being like, okay, is this right? But you're having to hear it so many times over and over again. And it was healing for me, right? So if nothing else, God said, I need you to hear these words by June 19th, and I surely did. But I'm hoping this blessing you too. So I digress, but it's thoughtful, it's for real because it's from God. That's my belief in it. And that's what it is. So, all right, let's get into the next section since that great question was asked. So that concludes the freedom part, right? Let's get into the paper. This one's called Pollution of Greed.
A perfect world is one inherited without the pollution of greed, without the poverty of need, one that spins abundantly, air clear, reminding me of the truck of the trees.
So,
unless the wait is
quick, short. Like I do have interludes on this one, right? Like I said, I didn't have my usual like, okay, now this poem is about that, like I did on My Name is Opal, but I do have these interlude ones. And Pollution of Greed is just that one. I don't know if you're like me, but growing up, the Lorax was a story in a book that just stuck with me in the best of ways. So I would call people the Lorax of different things. Shouts out to Christina, my vice president at the Lucia board, because she's the Lorax of the center, okay? She is not about to let anything pollute the essence, the framework, the beauty, the justice, the peace, the community of that place. She is the Lorax of that. And there's got to be a Lorax against this greed. American greed and really worldwide greed at this point is just run amok. And it's been running amok, but it is out of control at this point. And that's why paper got a section, that right? That's why paper in this section is about money, because we're doing too much. It's not everything. Money is a blessing and it's a tool and it's currency, but it's not everything. And the actions that some are taking to be incredibly greedy themselves, and then the actions they're taking to make us believe that that's the only way, right? They've really taught us that the only reason you should ever have a business is to grow it as big as you can and then sell it for as much as you can. Like, no, some of us just want to do what we love and be able to make a living doing it. And we love to grow because then we can have more people with us doing it. We can open more doors for people. But like, I don't ever want to sell my business. I don't ever want to sell my publishing company. I want to pass that down to my children and my children's children, and yes, keep it going. So I digress, but that we're getting into paper. So let's get into the next track on here called The Weight is Gone.
The weight is gone. A weight as heavy as the day is long. Feel like I can sing my song. I'm free. Not of what I love or responsibility, but of me. The me that was terrified of leaving too early with things undone. The me that thought somehow, somewhere there was a finish line that could be won.
Mm-hmm.
Some unsung hero, trophy of war. But at this moment, I know there's more to explore. More to implore of myself and my limiting beliefs that I've held so dear. But in reality, they have held me, and I'm finally letting go. Remember that God alone is in control. And I can just go and be and live. Haven't felt this type of freedom since
we was kids.
Life is good as is.
Now this as is. Now I almost called that as is. right? Um, and I did for a while. Like it might even be on that piece of paper as is. Um, but it's just about letting go of that hold those golden handcuffs might have on us, that hold that the rat race, the paper chase might have on us. Let that go. The flip side of it is if you don't have enough, right? And I've been there. If you don't have enough to pay your bills, and there's this constant weight on you every day. Like you wake up and yes, this beautiful, God is good, and then you're like, dang, how am I gonna make this? How am I gonna make this end meet? How am I gonna do that? That's a weight too. So it's this balance. Like that's been like the theme of the last my realizations that I'm having in these last few months is just like balance. So that weight is gone, is lifting something up so you're not one sided anymore. And I really wish when it comes to American greed and some of our leaders that we would let that go too and find some freedom, okay, from the paper in that. But I digress. Let's get into what's beef. Okay, what's beef? I am predicting is going to be a favorite. It is one of my favorites as a MC, as a hip hop artist, as a hip hop lover. I absolutely analyzed the Drake and Kendrick Lamar beef, but deeper than the surface, right? And everything because I was a huge fan of the big three, still am. I think all of them have amazing skills and abilities, right? But you got to pay attention. It's always deeper than what we think or what we've been shown. So I don't want to steal anything from the poem. I'll get to talking after it. But what's beef is my response to the Kendrick and Drake beef that we have subscribed to for the past, I don't know, year and a half, 2 years. Who knows? Let's go. What's beef?
Now, this beef between two of the best from the new school has us drawing color lines to decide who's cool. But whose fool are we to fall for the divide and conquer?
Gang.
Some of us do not realize that this has all been sponsored to deprive us of our unity and power in numbers.
Yes.
Sleep as sheep when we arise from the slumber. This division is sillier than Seuss's star-bellied sneeches. Who give a damn about skin tone when we arrive
on these beaches. Yes.
Enslaved by the shoreline. But you go ahead and favor these poor lines that do nothing but take credibility from both sides.
Thanks.
As both lives lose a little bit of their appeal to the masses. Kings become pawns, all pieces black on a white board with no passes. The distract is we had all the top spots.
Thanks.
And they want you to choose. For that is the only way they can force one to lose. Use your blues, clues, and take it back to the notebook. Rap song of the year, nothing but a diss track
with a dope hook. Come on.
Shook old school said ain't nothing but halfway
crooks.
Imagine Prodigy and Havoc centering a beef around looks.
Never.
I'll admit it though. This was one for the books.
Facts on facts.
NFL takes racism out of the end zone and wants minstrel at halftime. Black men fighting to the death have always been a
white man's pastime. Come on.
Subtle laugh lines left on the face of our community. Woo. Nothing scares them more about our race than our unity. Scrutiny, a distraction. We gotta reframe the focus. Hand quicker than the eye. All of this is hocus pocus. And the joke is on us. Told you already this was God's plan, but you're so damn in your feelings you forgot they
not like us. Come on.
Where the F is your loyalty?
I'm saying.
Both men black kings.
Facts.
Royalty. K-Dot and Iceman.
Yes.
I never switch sides. Apparently I'm a J. Cole fan.
Apparently. And apparently happens to be my favorite J. Cole song. So don't forget when it's sponsored, baby, who really won? Not hip hop. I remember when beefs within hip hop used to let the culture win. Now this was good for the culture for one thing. Lyrics came back. Okay. Lyrics came back. You see a lot of the folks, you see T.I. dropping, you see Ludacris dropping, they coming with those lyrics. You see Jigga with concerts like real rap came back for this, which was a beautiful thing. But we never, ever, 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 ever had to choose between Drake and Kendrick. And then once we kind of took sides, it was never actually about lyrical skills or music or what they do for the community. Now, was it? It was all superficial. And people who are not like us behind the scenes, pulling the strings. Like I said, it's all been sponsored. Okay? So I had to say something about it. Okay? If you follow me on social media, I've been saying something about it. Okay? I've been saying it, but it really comes out when I'm talking about it within my poetry. So that is absolutely one of my favorites. And the title, "What's Beef?" Like I said, product of the '90s, Biggie's line, "What's beef? Beef is when you can't start your Jeep." Like, so what's beef? Like, what was this beef though? Was it can't start your Jeep, or was it we want to see if we can have hip hop not have any in the top 100 on Billboard for the first time since the '90s? As Arsenio Hall used to say in the '90s, things that make you go, So I digress. But what's beef? That's my joint. I am definitely going to do a video for what's beef, maybe more than one video for what's beef in the future. And I had to shout out J. Cole. I had to shout out J. Cole. I love me some J. Cole. J. Cole's first album got me through grad school. That was my soundtrack. Driving to class, driving home. He's so smart, and I very much relate to J. Cole for many different reasons. He got it out the mud. He's smart enough to get into school, but his real gift is these lyrics and these rhymes and this creativity. And he was like, nah, because you know what? J. Cole peeped that this entire thing was sponsored and was never ever going to be about music in the first place. So he dipped out. Just like if you've seen that interview with Summer Walker when she says, I think it's Summer Walker. Was it Summer Walker? Do you know if it was Summer Walker or was it SZA? No, was it Money Long? One of the beautiful, amazing, awesome R&B. I think it was Money Long. I'm gonna go with Money Long on this. You come in the comments and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Money Long said that it was her. She had a terrible attitude one time in the studio, and the energy was bad. And she said that J. Cole walked in and was like, no, I'm walking back out. So he did the same thing with this beat. So that's why it ends on saying I'm a J. Cole fan, because I'm a fan of all of these men for different reasons. J. Cole, probably my favorite because I relate to him the most. Drizzy is undeniable. I love his voice. His creativity is unfreaking matched. I dare you. And so is his run. And Kendrick is brilliant. He's brilliant. One of my favorite things that he did that a lot of people don't know that he did was he did the entire soundtrack for Black Panther. Like, Disney trusted him to do the entire soundtrack. And I heard directly from the marketers who led that campaign at Disney on how they had to convince higher ups to let him do that. And he did it, and he did it beautifully and brilliantly, right? So they're all winners. They're all ours, most importantly. We don't got to choose between ours. They're all ours. So I digress, but that's my joint. Let me go in here. Thank you in the comments. It was Money Long. Like I said, I bet on that. My apologies to SZA. Okay. My apologies to Summer Walker. Summer Walker, I only thought it was you for a split second because you have that beautiful song with J. Cole. Okay. And SZA, she was just on my mind because I was just reading about her talking about AI music. So thank you. Thank you, user 109. It was Money Long. And yes, okay, I stand by that. J. Cole did the same thing that he did with this beef. He came in, the energy was bad, he peeped game, and he walked back out. He gets the shout out at the end of that piece for that. All right, let me look. Oh, okay. Someone says, thank you for speaking on American greed. It's not easy living in this era of it. Whole facts. And yes, chiming in on art should be guided by passion, not money. Say that again. Snaps for that. Art should be guided by passion, not money. Like I said, any artist knows this. This flows from God. It flows into you, right? And you get the gift of putting it out. It shouldn't be dictated by how much money you're going to make. Now, yes, we all got to live. We got to make smart decisions to get our art hurt more. But I love that I'm in a position of beautiful privilege where my art does pay some of my bills beautifully, but my 9-to-5 pays all my bills beautifully, and I can actually invest in my art because of that. So I get to make whatever I want, and I get to do whatever I want. And when God says drop an album on June 19th, even though I didn't have time to promo it, beef it up, didn't even know if I would make the deadline, y'all, to get it in, but I did. Won't he do it? It was none but the Lord too. It wasn't nothing but the Lord. Then I can do that. I don't have to wait on someone else's cycle. I don't have to wait on someone else's permission. And that allows me to just put out real, raw art that is what I feel. and what I love. You know what I'm saying? So agreed. Art should be guided by passion, not money. Words of wisdom from the chat. All right. All right. We are still in paper. For those of you just tuning in, I'm taking us through my new spoken word album that dropped just a week ago today called Freedom Paper Love Letters, and how I ordered it was the first set of poems is all about freedom. The second set of pieces on here is all about paper or money. That's what we're in right now. And then the third one gets us into love, and the last one gets us into letters, which are open letters. So let's get into American greed.
American greed is at an all-time high. Feels like they reach beyond the stars and scorch the whole damn sky. But dare go I against this grain. I have to say something before they mask my pain. Deny my claim like they did so many. How has the almighty dollar felt more like a penny? Breakfast at Denny's and nothing
From Tiffany's.
And technically we're all rich, but what has it given me?
Thing.
Simply rights I should have already had. Privilege is nice, but it's you who's paying the tab.
Yep.
Results from the lab say that we're working too much. Paper, plastic, golden handcuffs, holding us up because even groceries are highway robbery. Top tells you not to talk about money, the audacity of snobbery. Probably ruffle the feathers and lose a few fangs.
Hey.
Batman and Bruce Wayne, Robin Hoods, it was all in God's plan. Eminem writing back stand like you won't this life. But then again, if it's that bad for the halves, I hope the knots
Think twice. I hope the plot twists twice. Yeah.
And the tables turn bearish. I hope that money can't buy all of the things that we cherish. That when we went to Jared, the diamonds had no blood on them. Most of these leaders can't be trusted if they say they self-made, but
they ain't got no mud on them. Come on.
And I ain't trying to front on them, but enough is enough.
Thanks.
Eventually, a goal of bigger and bigger has to bust. 1% of 1% was never meant to carry it all.
Never.
And when the the Dow breaks, baby, the nation will fall.
Whole facts. Whole facts. I mean, that one is self-explanatory. Talking about American greed, putting it on its face. Sometimes people ask me what my favorite lines are. My favorite interchange in this one, and you could probably tell because I was excited to do it on here, is I hope the knots think twice. I hope the plot twists twice. Like, yes, it will turn around. It will turn around. And we're growth, greed. Now it will turn around. So that one again, self-explanatory, but yes. Okay, that is wrapping up our papers. Thank you for the love in the chat. Very much appreciated. Let's get into uninspired, parentheses, never.
I've never been uninspired. Never had a lack for being admired or partially desired. But I'm lacking a knack for feeling the fire that feeds the hunger, that fuels the beast. Distracted by the beauty of it all, I feast on empty calories, inflated salaries, and sound bites. Now, I know that everything I'm saying doesn't sound right, but it sounds like the truth, unapologetically. My verses have a way of hooking you phonetically. Hypothetically speaking, of course. Energetically, I'm staying the course.
Staying the course. So that is my uninspired never, is my bridge from paper into love. Like I said, we're going freedom, paper, love, letters. So uninspired is that bridge taking us into love. You can hear the voice change a little bit. Let's get into pretty pictures. I wonder what you think I'm talking about in pretty pictures if you haven't listened yet. And then let's get into what I really mean when I say pretty pictures.
I escape from pretty pictures. I swipe, ooh, I like. Nah, that ain't right. I keep scrolling, no trolling, but I'm numb to the mind controlling addiction in my hand. Feels like I got the whole world, but that ain't God's plan. For me to just do it for the gram or even just watch it. I can quit anytime I want, but every time I try and stop it, there is something in my real life that makes me want to dive back in.
Dang.
Makes me wonder how we used to
survive back when.
There was no social to our media, no phone in our home. Table in the presence of my enemies like the 23rd Psalm. But my calming pacifier is this device now. Created as a connector. is now a twisted vice. Belong.
So that one, pretty pictures, Instagram, TikTok, social media, all the things that we look at. Back in the day, it was magazines, but magazine wasn't every single place with us in our pocket. We didn't have the ability to put filters on ourselves and see the filtered lives of others, and we love that, right? It's pleasurable to the eye, but it's addictive. It's self included. I am not immune. I wrote this because like I said, I swipe. I like, oh, that's not right, right? Looking at great things and I see something horrible. You know what I mean? There's been studies, okay? We are very much addicted to these devices in our hands. So that's, pretty pictures is like, don't be tempted and lured by too much. Now, it's a double-edged sword. You are watching this on social media. I'm using social media. Use it wisely. I won't even say sparingly. I'll just say use it so there's no diminishing returns until it's positive, it's coming at you. Start noticing things aren't good, then ease that up. But yeah, pretty pictures. Looking at the chat here, is the album streaming everywhere? Yes, thank you for that reminder. The album is streaming everywhere. I dropped it on Juneteenth. That was the last Friday on June 19th. It is on Spotify. It is on Apple Music. It is on iTunes. If you would like to download and own the album or any of the singles on there, you can catch it on that. You can also listen to it on my website. You're able to connect to it. If you don't have any of those paid streaming services, you can listen to it on YouTube. Every last one of these is on YouTube for free. You just will search Opal Ellyse Freedom Paper Love Letters, and you'll be able to listen to all the tracks in order. Have a couple ads on there, but they're not egregious, so it's not bad. I've listened to it on YouTube too, because I always test that out, right? Like, I want to make sure that the residuals I'm getting from ads isn't taking away from the experience. So it's a great way to experience it too. It's on Tidal. I'm actually playing you these from Tidal. I love Tidal, right? That's the main one that I listen to. But yeah, you can check it anywhere. It's on Pandora if you want to listen that way. It's on everything. So these are all of the things. Amazon Music. It is streaming everywhere. If you can't find it, hit me up on all the social medias at OPALELLYSE, and I will guide you. I will send you a link. I have not made a Bandcamp for this, but hit me up. I'll send you a track. That's what I'll do. I'll send you an MP3. Looking here at the chat too. What is your take on the effects of social media now to compare when it came out? Oh, so good. I got some smart folks in the audience. The algorithms, right? We hear that word tossed around all the time, but when social media first came out, you saw what you saw, right? You saw the things from the people you followed. I will say this, the first social media, you're going to be like, oh, was it MySpace? Oh, was it Facebook? It was Black Planet. Look it up. Look it up, okay? I was on Black Planet, okay, when I was at the University of Wisconsin, Parkside, okay, way back, okay? I went to Parkside from 98 to 2002, okay? We were on Black Planet, and Black Planet was fire. Black Planet was the blueprint for MySpace, okay? Black Planet, and it was, of course, it was for Black folks, right? We are creative. We are amazing. So Black Planet was the first social media I was ever on. But going back to those days, even to MySpace, even to early Facebook, it was your feed was all people you followed, right? So I only saw what I wanted to see. Now you have technology, the algorithm, as they call it, choosing what it thinks I want to see based on a few things, right? Yes, it's based on what I've liked before, but that doesn't even have as much weight as it used to when the algorithm was in earlier stages. And now it's what it thinks it can sell me, of course, right? So now it's pay for play, They're paying to be in your face. It is things that will make you engage. So a lot of it, you've heard the term rage bait thrown around. Things that make you mad, make you engage more, right? Things that make people mad, make people engage more than sex, love, pretty pictures, like make you mad. So it's more dangerous because you're being fed these things. The additional thing is just the amount of filters, right, that are on there. And filters are fun and fine, but if that's all you feel comfortable showing yourself in, I think that can be harmful. to your psyche, and we didn't always have those. Some of it was a little raw. When Instagram first came out, we definitely had filters, and that was like novel and new, and it was fun to put a little twist on things with filters. But now, so much of what is sent to you isn't you exploring the world anymore, right? Social media used to be this window to just see the people I want to see, and then maybe explore some things I don't know. And now it's so curated based on your past behavior to what data is already out there on you and what they think you're going to want and what might make you buy something at the end of the day, right? So I do think that the effects are different because of that. So I'm glad that I was an adult, like a seasoned adult, like before. I mean, Black Planet was pretty early, so I was in college, but I was an adult before this stuff ever mattered, and I was definitely like I was a mom before this stuff got really mainstream to where like everyone was using it. Every like companies didn't used to be on there like that, right? Now it's so like you have to be on there if you have a company, right? So I digress, but great question, and I think it'll keep changing, evolving. But it is there's good and bad to it, right? There's so much that I love. Like I love social media. I fell in love with it when it came out. Twitter, I'm not going to call it X. Twitter used to be my favorite social media of all time. I love playing in Twitter. I love seeing the tweets. I love doing the things. I love reading the words. I love sharing my thoughts out with the words too. I love live watching TV with Twitter. I still do that sometimes. Where you can just, see who else is watching the same thing you are. And it's kind of like you're watching something with a bunch of people, and it's fabulous. Like that's one thing that like Twitter should capitalize on more, right? They should be like, and not that you curate a group, it's just you find your people, right? I found my people who was also watching Scandal, eating popcorn, drinking wine on Thursday nights in the 2010s, 2015 era. And we talked on Twitter while we watched. That was great. That's organic community. You can't create, they're rooting it in a way that you can't create organic community the same way, but people are creative. We'll always find a new way to do it and to explore. So yes, I think the effects there is a difference about when it came out, and I'm curious to see how it evolved. There are some people who say internet's going to be gone because it wanted to be created or curated for humans anymore, be curated for AI agents, because again, that whole goal is to shop, right? To be able to sell that. So we'll see. I don't know. We'll see. But I digress. Let's continue into love. Let's get into crew love. What y'all know about crew love?
Belonging is a complicated puzzle, an intricate maze. Unclear at first, but upon removal of the haze, you wake from your daze and see everything click. It's beyond having your squad, your crew,
your clique.
Sure, it's relationships, but it's bigger than that.
Bigger.
It's not strategic or planned, but not pure happenstance. It's fate over chance, improbable inevitability. Isn't it ironic how iconic crew love can be? And it comes to me like an epiphany as we sit on our thrones, miles from home but so comfortable in our zones, hypnotized by our parts in the play. Unrehearsed, yet we know
just what to say.
And I know that we'll stay embraced by this love, engaged by this peace. 'Twas in my joy with others that my fears got released.
Whole facts. One of the things that's super important to me as an artist and as a person is to highlight the different types of love. Return to Love is a book written by Marianne Williamson. If you have not heard of her, oh, you must. And if you have, you know. If you know, you know. But Return to Love, if you read that, it will lead you to read more books, right, within that realm. And it will lead you to read A Course in Miracles. Now, A Course in Miracles is this thick, and I'm not even, that thing is thick. And when I tell you that font is Bible small, you'll read it though, if you want to read it. It's so good, right? So I suggest going down that path. Read, if you haven't already, A Return to Love by Marianne Williamson, and then read A Course in Miracles. Both of those will tell you. One's going to be the high level cliff notes, and one is going to go deep into your soul, right? We have been told so much that romantic love is the most important, the epitome of what love is. It is the center. When you hear the word love, when you hear love letters, when you hear love song, when you hear love anything, it is going to take you right to romantic love. Because again, that is what we've been sold. We've been sold that by greeting cards and holidays and expensive dinners and everything else. And romantic love, do not get me wrong, is awesome. It is freaking awesome. Anybody who's been in love knows it will change your life. It will change you. It is beautiful. It is magic. It is awesome, right? But so are all these other kinds of love. For me, ain't no love compared to the love that I have with God. And I'm a mom. Ain't no, ask any mom. Ain't no love that you have for the love of your child. And true love is about the love of your friends and your people. When you find your tribe, and that is huge. Don't be fooled into thinking that any form of real love is better or worse than another or less important. It's only because they can't sell you on that. There's not, what are you going to buy for friend love? What can they sell you? Some best friend necklaces and friendship bracelets? That's it. Think about it. They can't capitalize it on that much. The love for your people, which I get into on this next track called I Love Us So Much. That unity, that community, that love, that is deep. That is deep, okay? So I love that Return to Love and A Course in Miracles. It really, for me, it was Epiphany. I read it when I was, I don't know, maybe 28, 29. And it just like made me go, duh, that's so true. There are so many awesome things in love. I mean, Whitney Houston, greatest love of all, learning to love yourself. Like that is huge. Like acceptance of yourself. And when you really actually like love yourself, you look kind of crazy. Okay. I love me some me. I'm not perfect. I have a ton of flaws. Blah, 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 blah. The list can go on. But I love me some me. And when you walk around the world and you actually love yourself, it's wonderful. There should be a greeting card for that. Hey, you, how you doing? I love you. I love you too. Okay. Issa Rae in the mirror on Insecure. Yes. Okay. Okay. All of that stuff. So true. So it is part of my mission to spread that word that I read in Course in Miracles and Return to Love on. There are so many others. So in this section of love, I'm hitting them all. So that was true love. That's that friend love. Let's get into the love of your people with I Love Us So Much. Fun fact, I actually wrote this one for the African American Engagement Resource Group, Employee Resource Group at my job, because I love me some us. I love us. We are amazing. We need each other. We grow with each other. And I wrote this, and I think it was for this year's, for Black History Month. I wrote this one in February, shared it with them there, and kept it on the album because I do love us so much. This is for Black folks. This is my love for Black folks. Okay.
I love us so much. Our feel, our glow, our touch. We're such magical creatures. Extended subtle grace in our prominent features.
Dang.
Juicy couture seems dry in our presence.
Facts.
Jet black in our
Ebony essence.
Regardless of shade. Leave it to Queen to call out the fluorescent beige. To the deepest mahogany, the reds and blues. So many hues for an artist to choose from. We shall never dim to be palatable. How dare we contort from our natural state to be malleable. From curl patterns to fresh cuts.
Dang.
We are all icons.
Yeah, that's us.
Superstars and celestial beings, eyes piercing, soul seeing. And that's just the outside, boo.
Just the outside.
Beneath all that gold is the solid truth. Living proof that resilience is a spiritual thing.
Facts.
I'm not romanticizing struggle. I'm
calling a thing a thing. Hey,
knowing why the cage bird sings and being able to catch the rhythm. Staying on beat to defeat racism. Let God play with them because we are a blessed people.
Facts.
Untouchable on a soul level. I'm done fighting for evil. Because we are regal and should be handled accordingly.
Facts.
My new disclaimer before I drop gems is
forgive me.
Because from here on out, I'm only speaking truth to
power.
Not just this month, this day,
this hour,
but anytime the interest is ours and the facts need to be stated. We stand on shoulders of ancestors who waited for it to be our turn. The time has been ushered in, let it burn. So bright the future generations remember more than our names. Let them have light because our blood runs through their veins. Letting go of the reins to let freedom ride. Black beauty, Black excellence. This is
Black pride. Like I said, I love us. Okay. What I will do in the future, I can't do it now. We already going on an hour. I only plan. We're going an hour and 3 minutes right now. I only plan to go an hour for this. But y'all asked good questions, so it took me in better places. But I will go deep on each of these because this is one of my favorites for just the punchline every line. Like I say, when I do hip hop and I'm an MC, like punchline every line. Every one of these has double and triple entendres, but I digress. That so we got crew love, right? We got love of the things we see, pleasure of the eyes, pretty pictures. We got crew love, talking about friendship love. We got I love us, love of our people, our culture, our struggle and our triumph. Let's get into husband. Let's get into some of that romantic love, and let's talk about what that means more too.
Husband, I long for your ways that awaken dormant parts of my body and soul. I feel happily without you, and I want to feel whole. Not desperately, but effortlessly.
Yeah,
I crave your bliss. Addicted before the first hit. I miss you before I know you. So many things in me I want to show you. I feel I am so you, and you so me. I love you, babe. B, please be ready for me when we arrive. I promise to continue to thrive and feel beyond the lie. So when we lock eyes, I don't look away. Just promise me you'll stay scared.
Self-explanatory. I feel like that Sierra prayer that they talk about. It hits. I see in the chat. What is your category? What's my favorite category of love to write about? I don't know all of it. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's the us. It's the I love us so much. It's the love of the people. It's the love of the people. That's my favorite thing to write about. My easiest thing to write about though is love of God. I'm so in awe of God. My whole last album, Protect the Queen was really a love home story book to God. That's what that was. And love of self in the way of like, look at yourself as a queen, regal, take care of yourself, cherish yourself, lead. Favorite thing to write about is probably love of the people. Easiest thing to write about is love of God. Feel most vulnerable writing about romantic love for sure. Like who wouldn't? Crew love is easy, right? I love folks. So I love my friends. I got some great friends and good supporters. So I digress. Let me get into the final section of Freedom Paper Love Letters, which is letters. These are my open letters, baby. Open letters. And I know if you still rocking with me, we are an hour and 6 minutes in, but that's fine. This will be great content. Come back to it, okay? We're in letters. The first one's called My Story because you're going to start writing open letters. I'm going to tell you a story.
I wonder if I told you a little bit about my story. If you find yourself in it and meet me on common ground. See, I don't wonder whether or not it would make a sound if no one is around. I just write and give sight, because that's what Jesus would do. Unapologetic about my faith, it was true, and I can live for something as I stand beside you. Ask yourself if the playing field is even, and embrace yourself for something to believe in, while still breathing as it's a vibe. Feels like some of us wait our whole lives to feel alive. And I found my tribe in unlikely places.
Yes.
I keep something Nipsey said on a loop like blue laces. You can do it yourself. You don't need no one else. To your own self be true, and that's a feeling that's felt. Feeling like the cards I was dealt were strategic.
Thanks.
Every callous and soft spot I needed to grip the reality I've been given. And tip the world we live in so the scales are in our favor.
Yes.
What flavor do culture shifters savor? Asking this as my words melt like brown sugar on the tongue. I've climbed ladders with no rungs. Yes. Written songs that have yet to be sung, and all the while paving a path for those behind. I work for everyone who longs to be signed, but holds the power of the paper and the pen. And the ability to recommend that you do it your way. And own all you create. Do your homework and start with a fresh slate. Being the first artist that you mold. Look up and trust. The keys you're looking for, you hold.
My story, that's not my life story, but it kind of is my life's work. It's about this, right? It's about the music I make. It's about the poems that I write. It's about the books that I write. It's about being a publisher. It's about being an independent artist who's able to write my truth whenever I want to. You hear a lot of, you hear the voice in that too is very much more, sounds kind of countryish. That sounds how I sounded in my formative years, more like my teens and young adult, right? Before corporate America shaped me a little bit more on how I talk, right? Before I was media trained. And what I love about poetry is I'm able to channel those different voices. They're all me, right? It's not a character, it's not an accent. Those are all me, how I talk in certain different spaces. So that brings in that raw, real, untamed, free me. And then I have a lot of Nipsey references in there because I did get to spend. Nipsey was only on this earth for 33 years. And I got to spend, Nipsey listened to my demo that was 30 minutes. And he literally told me, listen to my whole demo. He was opened up for the game. He came to the city where I live in Madison, Wisconsin. And my girl, shout out to Quisha, one of my best friends who was the best salesperson I know. And let me tell you, I know some multi-million dollar sales people in the financial industry. And I'm still going to tell you that Quisha is the best salesperson I know, okay? She sold it. She's like, Nick, you gotta hear my girl. You gotta hear her CD. She could spit, she could rap, and she's smart. She went to college. She blah blah blah. He was like, Nipsey. He was like, you stand behind your product, like in the most Franklin Saint gangster, L.A. Crenshaw Slauson way. Like, you stand behind your product. I'm like, yeah, I do. He's like, well, come on, we're gonna listen to it. Listen to the whole thing. Gave me beautiful feedback on different things, and literally told me you can do it yourself. So that's why I have this. And like he said that, like, you can do it yourself. He's like, I can do it for you, but he's like, look at what I'm doing. He's like, you can do it yourself. And Nipsey is notorious for being someone who recorded himself, right? When he was first getting on, he recorded all his stuff. He would say he would run into the booth, he'd hit record, he'd run into the booth and record. And when I saw him after that show, and he already had, plenty of fame and notoriety and acclaim, he got right off the show. He didn't go drink and kick it and hang out with groupies. He got on there and was working on his music, answering emails, working on his social media. And he showed me the example, and he's like, you can do this yourself. Like, you have the skills, you have the ability, you can do this yourself. And I believed him. I absolutely believed him. And when I was doing my first spoken word album, I don't know if I've shared this anywhere, but when I was recording my first spoken word album, my name is Opal, the book of it is behind me. I had his video, Victory Lap, on like repeat. Like, I kept playing it over and over again on mute while I was recording, because Nipsey told me I could do it myself, so I believed him. And my name is Opal is the first thing I ever did all by myself. So I've been in studios recording with people, making songs with people, making songs on my own with other folks, other engineers, other producers, which I highly do recommend. So it is a wonderful thing to do. But I work with other people for album art and for doing everything, and I would collab, which again is important. But that first spoken word album was the first one I ever did by myself, and I really wanted to live into that. So I did everything on that bad boy by myself. I mean, everything. Of course, I wrote every word. You ever hear something come out? I wrote it. Of course, I wrote every word. I recorded every word. I arranged every piece. I mixed every piece. Mastered every piece. I made the album art. Like, I did all the marketing. I did everything myself because he told me I could. So my story is my story of art, and why I'm here, why I'm an independent artist, why I'm a publisher, why I believe in myself. Nipsey Hussle told me, okay, he loved my song Girl Fight, and he told me you can do it yourself in the realest of ways. And he don't mince words. He don't mince words, okay? He told me what he didn't like, what he did like, right? Like, you can do this, and you can do it yourself. So I digress. Seeing some stuff in the chat. How do you get over the fears that come with doing something yourself? You just got to do it. Point blank period. You got to do it. You got to be okay making mistakes too. You got to be okay making mistakes. It's going to hurt your feelings. It's going to mortify you. But you just got to do it. And then once you do it, you'll be fine. And you have to trust yourself, though. And I say trusting yourself is going to come from putting the work in, right? Like, I probably wouldn't have recorded and put out the first poem I ever wrote by myself and had confidence about it, right? So it comes from, like I said, I had for this album was 20 tracks. I had at least 32 recorded, then it went down to 27. It's knowing like, yeah, this is good, but this ain't it. Or this is kind of good, but this could be better, but this ain't it. This ain't the caliber and the quality of this. So you kick things off. And when you begin to trust yourself and you can really be honest with yourself, then it really takes you over that fear and you don't worry about it. Because it's like everybody's going to have a little nervousness when you hit, you send it out, you put it out. Or I have nervousness when, I'm sending an invoice to somebody or somebody asks me, what are my prices to come perform? I don't really have nervousness about that anymore. I'm just like, go to my website, they're there. But I did. But it's really being comfortable with yourself allows you to get over it. Like I trust myself. And then you start to do things and you're like, you know what? I'm actually really good at this part, right? Like I remember I did shouts out to Mad Lit. I did a couple years ago. They had the 50th birthday of hip hop, and they asked me to kind of do a set that was paying homage to women in hip hop. And so I did a kind of a mashup of UNITY by Queen Latifah, Quiet Storm, Little Kim verse, and then that thing, Lauryn Hill. And I got the instrumentals, I mixed them up myself. I kind of had it, how I wanted to do it so it could go, so I could do like a medley of those things. And at that time, I wasn't as confident in my own mixing and putting that together. And then I had to like send that to like a real live DJ who was going to play it on a very loud, beautiful, big stage and sound system. So I was kind of nervous with that, but he's like, this is fabulous. This sounds amazing. Who did this? It sounds amazing. And I'm like, me. So like those things, just doing it has given me the confidence to be able to do it. Now I mix professionally for voiceovers that I do, and I do them myself. I mix them myself, and they're played in the Kohl Center and in huge venues. So yeah, just doing it, and then be okay when you make mistakes, and just know you'll get better. But yeah, that's a good question. But that's how I get over the fear of believing yourself, right? Do you really want to do this? Are you doing it for you? Or are you trying to do it to make a buck? If you're really doing it because you believe God called you to do it, you're going to get it right, and it's going to be good. All right, in lieu of time, because we're coming from an hour 15, you still rocking with me? Thank you. Love you. Appreciate you. Here is one of my favorite cuts on the album, but it doesn't matter. It's my favorite cut. This is my daughter's favorite cut. She makes fun of it a little bit, but I know it's because she loved this piece. This one's called I Come From the Margins. Another open letter, okay?
I come from the margins. I've gotten so good at mainstream, I could probably say I've always been center stage, center page in telling my story. That I've always had the spotlight glory. But before we get too deep in perception, I want to steer us out of this path of deception. Provide correction to this fable. I may appear to have always been at the table, but I come from the margins.
Don't be fooled.
I, like the spook who sat by the door,
Thanks.
have been left out, looked over, and because of it, I've absorbed more than any coveted recruit. I am what you call
Living proof.
That lines can be crossed and eyes can be closed.
Yes.
That the mind can be trained to forget what it knows in order to be justified and right. What's left is a distorted line of sight that sees me as friend and my kind as foe.
Ooh.
Me a rare shooting star, but the more you know will end the show, leaving you pondering with self.
Yes.
This is me signaling that I'm done with my service. Like asking, is there anything else? I come from the margins, but most of you have never been on that side. I come from the margins, so there is no box I fit inside. Alec?
Whole facts. I literally do come from the margins. You say you got out the mud, I come from the margins. Everything about me was not centered, but yet, and here I am. Okay, so I come from the margins. It's just another part of my story, and I hope that I know so many people also come from the margins and can relate to that of being overlooked, being the not first choice, not you don't look like the leader you are. You don't. Your beauty is different. Your skills are different. How you show up is different. How you interact with the world is different. Those are all ways you can come from the margin. But baby, it's a beautiful thing, and it's all on purpose. It is all on purpose. So I come from the margins. Like I said, it's one of my daughter's favorites. It's one of my favorites. This is actually one that I had when I released Protect the Queen, and I have recorded it, mixed it for Protect the Queen, but it just didn't fit, right? I still loved it. I loved the piece, but it didn't fit on that one. It didn't, but it fits on this one. It's one of my open letters. It's Freedom Paper Love Letters. That's what it is. I said earlier, if you were here with us when we began this, when I was kind of talking, giving kind of a little bit of a overview of the album, that Alex Jeffrey Pretty was one of the pieces that I have. And sometimes there are people who, whether I know them or not, and in these two cases, I don't really know the people, they impact life in a way that impacts me as a poet and artist and someone who sees and hears and feels things a little bit deeper sometimes. And they inspire me to write a piece. The last one that I released that was like that was for Tony Robinson, called My Reaction. And just to continue to keep that going and not forgotten, Tony Robinson was an unarmed teen from Madison, Wisconsin, who was shot and killed by police who were not punished as they should have been. And seeing that made me write a piece. So Alex Jeffrey Pretty, who was murdered by ICE in Minneapolis, as he was there protesting and trying to show value in the lives of those who were being snatched up and harmed and killed by ICE. And he was killed by ICE. First of all, that was horrible for anyone. And then as people began to celebrate online, again, I don't know him, but online, celebrate his life, some of the things that, one of the things they showed were he was a nurse and he worked at the VA. And when the soldiers would pass, he would take the time and his creativity and his beautiful voice and speak words of honor over their lives. And it was so poetic that when I heard and I saw that, it inspired me to write a poem about him. Before I get into Alex Jeffrey Pretty, I do see a question in the chat about how do you balance coming from the margins when you eventually become successful? That's a great question. That's a great question. I'll tell you, I think me and everybody else who has is still trying to figure that out, right? So you do balance it. You are going to deal with a lot of things that, I'm sure you've heard of imposter syndrome, but, where you've earned it, you have it, and you still feel like you kind of don't earn it because you don't fit in the same way. So I still deal with that and battle that. Most people who are way more successful than me, they say the same thing, that they still feel that. But I balance it now by just knowing that it was a gift. I needed all of that. And I love that perspective. Like, I can write things about American greed because I have the perspective that it doesn't have me drinking the Kool-Aid, just because I do have a certain level of success and a certain level of having what I want in many spaces and living comfortably. I wouldn't have that perspective if I didn't come from the margins. It allows me also to see talents in people that maybe some other folks wouldn't. And then when you can see talent in those folks, then you can connect with those folks and you can do great things, greater than you could if you didn't have that. So I very much am able to balance that now by having a huge appreciation for coming from the margins. And I won't want anything else. I love that I come from the margins. So great question. So let's get into this next part of letters. Alex Jeffrey Pretty.
Alex Jeffrey Pretty. Say his name. So many fallen this way, but I feel compelled to speak on his. As I watched him speak over fallen soldiers so poetically, I'd be remiss if I didn't give a final salute. This man soldiered on for the simple truth that brutality should not be tolerated and terror shouldn't run our streets. That masked men shouldn't be able to kill anyone they meet. On payroll from a bigot, a liar,
and a cheat.
Nazi, KKK, ICE, you will all meet your feet and have a seat in the corner depths of hell.
Said what I said.
But choosing to peddle fear with blood on their hands, attempting to cast a spell that numbs our society and kills our spirit. But the whispers have spoken, and in their souls they hear it. The people have stood and the good will prevail.
Yes.
Evil never wins for long. I tell you no tall tale. You have no real power, and I urge you to repent. Your orders do not come from who you think they were sent. This is the devil's work, and you are just a pawn. Remember what happens to evil after the assignments are gone. What you don't face here, you will surely face
in the next.
While our fallen become angels, your souls will be vexed. Demons don't protect, and they surely don't look out.
Facts.
Leave now while you can. We're stirring the tea. Get out. Minneapolis, we love you, and we're sorry it's your turn again. But it seems that you are strongest and the ones who can defend. The cold was sent to fight with you and disarm this wicked vice. Your Nordic and Viking roots will serve you, and you will always break the ice.
Break the ice. Self-explanatory. Again, homage to Alex Jeffrey Pretty with that one, and also homage to Minneapolis, who also saw George Floyd and so many other injustices, or so many of their people. Again, love for the people, standing up in the cold. Like, yes. So yeah. Someone says, thank you for always speaking on these tragic stories and putting them into art that will live forever, as the media often forgets about them. Oh, thank you. That gave me chills right there. Thank you for that. Yes. As I hope you know, one of my favorite things about the privilege of being able to be an artist is that these things can live on. It absolutely has me in awe that 100 years from now, somebody could listen to one of my spoken word albums, read one of my pieces in a book, and know exactly what I thought, know exactly what I felt, know exactly what it felt like to be here, to live here, to see the things that we see. And you're so right. Media, what's the next news cycle, right? Things last a week, maybe. If they're super tragic, a little bit longer. Not long enough. We're just on to the next thing. Art takes us back. So thank you for appreciating that, and that's exactly why I do it. All right, other side.
On the other side of your freedom paper, I wrote a poem confessing my love to you, sender and moon. But I'm home, here because of all you paid. It feels like land of milk and honey because of
roses you paid.
Ways you made that were for sure out of no way. My version of recycling is far from a throwaway. I'm so okay because you weren't. This thin piece of paper held up to show your worth. But your place on earth is a birthright. And believing that is your first fight. God-given right to be free and at peace. But they'd have you believe what you already own can be leased back to you. Like living their rules is something
you have to do.
But it's back to school and let me teach you.
Yes.
Classes in session. The strong arm of universal law will reach you.
Yeah.
You can preach to what you thought it was nothing. I beseech you. Let me tell you something. Life is all or nothing. No halfway.
Oh.
Do you know that meditation opens up new neural pathways
Thanks.
to the math bay? I told you it's a love story. God gave it all to us for his glory.
Yes.
And I've got a second story, one that doesn't end the same. And from up here, the floor is the ceiling and the door is the frame. Remember my name as I signed this with love. Back to the future until below is as above. I can't watch.
I'm saying. Other side is my open letter, but it's also a love letter to all of the freedom fighters, to the freedom riders, to the people who came before us, who allow me to have this free speech in this way, who allow me to have the audacity to speak on the things that I get to speak on. Because as a woman, as a Black person, as someone who comes from the margins and doesn't come from money or a last name that carries weight, I wouldn't have been able to do any of those things if they didn't break the chains and the laws. So this is my letter to all of them, those who came before us and our ancestors, those who came before us and are still here. I love you and I thank you. Other side is my love letter to them. That's why I said on the other side of your freedom papers, I wrote you a poem. Like, yes. Can't watch the news. Take from the past, bring it into right now. These are my open letters. Okay? Can't watch the news.
I can't watch the news. I can't be one of those views. I can't keep getting the blues just because I'm trying to get clues to figure out this society that's been lying to me from the beginning.
Thanks.
Who do you think is winning this war?
We're on peace.
Who's taking ownership over this lease? Will the powers that be ever call cease on this fire? I don't know. But as for me and mine, I will go to all extremes to protect and serve. Feels like some took an oath but never heard the words that were coming out of their mouths.
That's
Because black folks have
memory of the South. Come on now.
Before, we ain't going back.
Nope.
This is all our fight, but
Nope.
let privilege take 2 steps forward and the oppressed fall back.
Yeah.
Finally set the deck and play on one accord. The house always wins unless the
Field keeps score.
evening out the odds forever in our favor. Too hungry to play games that don't love thy neighbor. Don't savor the time before they lost their minds. Not my first thriller do you read.
Remember the times. Hey, shout out to Michael.
Like I remember my rhymes. System can turn on you at the drop of a dime, but community will hold you steady. Community doesn't play weak, and when it gets heavy, we get ready.
Yes.
However, do you want me, and however do you need me? Not a fairy tale story when you read me, but the good guys always win. And once the good girl's gone, she's gone forever. I'll never play dumb. I'm way too clever. But never say never. I believe it's all on purpose. Each misstep, often, is worth it. Don't.
Can't watch the news. I mean, okay. That's another one I will go and say, listen to the double and triple meanings in there, and the homage. Okay, hopefully you got the Michael Jackson. Do you remember the times? Hopefully you got that, but there's a bunch of them in there. Rounding out the letter section as well as the album is a piece called Send Help. And if you notice, someone asked earlier in this live the order. So the first is called Heroes, the first poem. The last one is called Send Help. Again, that's something that happened right when I was saying I was going through the process. I'm a plan that. I didn't name these that for that. But as I put them through freedom, paper, love, and letters, first one happened to be Heroes. Last one happened to Send Help. And that's how I know when I see things like that is when I'm in flow. I've connected into the divine, because couldn't do that if you wanted to. Couldn't do it if you tried. But if you just let it flow, it's going to have rhyme and reason. So Send Help, the last track on Freedom Paper Love Letters, the last open letter, okay, to this society. Let's get into it.
Don't let your rage distract you, or this age impact you. The time for justice is
always
right now. But I need you to take your focus off the why and on to the how. I'm not asking you to become emotionless, but I'm asking you to use emotion less and apply logic to this game of risk. They have us fighting over scraps at the kids' table while the grown-ups dine hand over fist. In a gluttonous bliss, as their teeth tear through flesh and hit bone. My use of imagery is
meant to hit home.
So pick up the phone and start calling their BS.
Okay.
Instead of asking rhetorical questions to chat
GTPS. Let's go.
That takes us nowhere we haven't already been.
Woo.
See, I know why the cage birds sing.
Whole facts.
But I also know freedom has wings and we have
yet to fly. Let's go.
I know none of our ancestors died just so we could continually work our fingers to the bone.
No.
While they try to take words out of our vocabulary and clone a time when reading and writing was also illegal. See, words have power and so do the people.
Facts.
But they want our heads bowed and eyes closed. Knees bent and not in prayer, but so we'll fold. Do as we're told and turn our fear to submission. How do you boil a frog?
Slowly.
So listen to the whispers that sound eerily familiar. Discomfort is a gift because the pain won't kill you, but the numbness will. Our conversations going from hope and innovation to discussing the dumbest bills. Good magicians keep your eyes on their prize. Meanwhile, you're fruitlessly fighting with their lies and not understanding the trick's purpose. We haven't even jumped in yet, just hit the surface. Egos are worthless, but they control all the wealth. America is under siege. Please
send help. I'm saying that's how I ended send help. That's my open letter. That is my Freedom Paper Letters album. Is that we gotta help ourselves. We gotta be from our own heroes. We gotta be able to ask for help. We gotta go through. If you listen to a ton of the threads that are in there, even some of those things that have synchronicity with some of the questions that y'all asked, and I've been able to share, send help. That's why we end there. Freedom is huge. What impacts one of us or some of us, it ends up impacting all of us. Whether it's the greed, whether it's the love or lack thereof, whether it's the freedom or lack thereof. Use our gifts, share our things. That's all I'm doing on Freedom Paper Love Letters. I do sincerely hope you enjoyed. I thank y'all for kicking with me. I thank anyone who's ever listened to anything that I've ever put out. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for accepting me and all that I bring. Thank you for the kind words that you say when I see folks out or on social media. I appreciate that so much. Y'all don't have to listen to anything that I share. Y'all don't have to watch anything that I do. I love that you do. And I just want to say thank you. Again, thank you for rocking with me. I did say that if folks stayed, I may share what's coming. So just like on My Name is Opal and on Protect the Queen, and My Name is Opal, I start off the album by saying there's no music on this album because there's not. I am putting out a version of Freedom Paper Love Letters with these same pieces, all with music behind them, and a couple other pieces that I already have music with will be added. So that's the bonus. You're going to get one with music on it from me. These pieces happen to line up so well with some great producers I know, with some tracks that I've had for a minute, with some things that I've created, and I'm super excited for you to hear that way. But I didn't want to just shift and only have a spoken word poetry album that just had music, because there's a lot of that, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's dope too. But I know, because I hear from y'all, that people do love and listen to just the words, because sometimes you just need the words. You don't need a bop. You don't need to get in the flow. You need to hear the flow that comes from the words. So I want to make sure that I did that too, so that I have this bridge, and I can assure you and folks who love what they come to my spoken word albums for, that you're going to get that. And you got that with this. And I love this. And I dropped it on Juneteenth for a reason. And then there will be, very near future, a version of this with music on it. I hope you enjoy and listen to both. Both have a place. I can't wait to talk and compare. And we'll likely do another listening party for that one. But like I mentioned before, I'm going to go into some of these pieces a little bit deeper. A few pieces that I want to pull out and really talk about. And I'm going to do that. I have a new couch in my studio, and I'm going to call it it's going to be my little couch confessions type area, right? And we're going to get into deeper into some of these pieces. But I just want to thank y'all. It is 9:36 p.m. Central. Y'all have been rocking with me for an hour and 36 minutes. Thank you. I did not expect that. Thank you for the great interaction and the questions that you have in the chat. I see I am missing a couple questions here too. I like this one. So how do you balance or take care of yourself so that you are informed on what's going on but not consuming it? So I'm assuming that one I probably missed when I was playing I Can't Watch the News. So I do still watch the news, right? But I can't stay in the cycle of it for too long. And I have to balance it with other things that do feed my soul in better ways. So I do watch the news, but I also watch and listen to a lot of sermons. I listen to a lot of podcasts that are uplifting and those things to balance it out. I will watch, like, shout out to Spectrum One. You know why shout out to Spectrum One? Because Spectrum One featured Black Currency Podcast on their news, and they did a great job, and that we got to talk to them, and they did a beautiful feature on us. So shout out to them. Shouting them out. I actually do watch Spectrum News like every day. They have more local Wisconsin type news. And so I will keep it local too, because local news, if you just watch the national news, you're probably just going to see the worst of the worst. When you watch local news, you're still going to get those big things that you need to know about, right? You're going to see the Ebola outbreak. You need to know about that. You're going to know about the wars. You're going to need to know about that. But you're also going to get some of those good stories. You're going to get some athletes of the week. By the way, let's see more girls on there. You're going to get some athletes of the week. You're going to get some feel-good stories. You're going to get some triumph stories. So I try to balance it by watching news that isn't all bad, but it's true. I have to stay informed for my life. I have people in my life that I take care of. My daughter, my mom. I got to stay informed for them. I have to stay informed for my job. My job, deals with finance, and I need to know about these trends and these things. I need to know how the research we're bringing is compared to what else is out there. So I do have to watch. It is a balance. It's absolutely a balance. So great question. Am I able to book you to perform? Heck yeah, one of these pieces. Yes, go to my website. Thank you for the reminder because I was not even going to plug that, but thank you. So go to OPALELLYSE, OpalElyse.com. And you can find how to book me. You'll also be able to see the performances that I have coming up, the ones that I've done recently as well, because I capture them all there. It's just a running tab of performances, and you'll be able to see how to book me, and you can contact me right through that website, and I'll be able to kind of see that message come through, and then we can chat. We can chat and see what makes sense. But yeah, I can perform any of the poems on here. I can perform any of the poems on my last 2 spoken word albums, and then I also do custom pieces that I write all the time. I've got one coming up in Atlanta that I'm doing for the Talented 10th, for some $1 billion credit union CEOs within the space. So I got one that I'm writing for them that I'm performing, for example. So that's a custom commission piece that I do. So I do that all the time too. So yes, you can actually book me. Another question here. Can you tell us your favorite poem from this album? That's always hard. So number one, this album just came out a week ago, so I take my time. But right now, you know what? I'm gonna give you. I don't know. I don't want to limit myself. I was gonna say I'm gonna give you one favorite from Freedom, Paper, Love, and Letters, but I don't know. What's Beef is up there. I really like What's Beef. That's probably my favorite. I also really like. I like so many of these pieces. So I like Freedom Fighters a lot. That's definitely one of my favorites too. American Greed got a lot going on in there. And then I'm an MC, so I'm a sucker for the wordplay. So my story's got a lot of wordplay going on in there. Can't Watch the News does too. So it's Send Help. So this is a heavy wordplay album, which I like. Protect the Queen was a little softer, soft girl era. So it always has it in there, but it was more of a just feeling good, right? And this is more like bar for bar. We're gonna go. But yeah, if I had to choose one, I'm going with What's Beef. That's my favorite. So good, hard question. Ask me again in a few weeks when I've had even more time for the album to be out. But that's my favorite. Y'all tell me, what's your favorite? What one resonates with you? And I'm gonna be asking this question on social media too to see what people's favorites are, because they're not always the same as mine. Sometimes they are, but sometimes they're not. Like on the last one, my favorite was Shut Up, and that was a big favorite from a lot of people. But on my first one, really people loved I Dream in Color, and I love that too. But that was like everybody's like favorite. So yeah, let me know. Hit me up on social. Tell me what your favorite piece is. Tell me in the chat if we got time. But yeah, I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart, mind, body, and soul for rocking with me, for kicking with me, for even knowing that I've got a YouTube channel. Again, this was invites only. So this was a small, select, beautiful group of folks who are actually subscribers to OpalElyse.com. So if you got a link from somebody else and you were here and you're not a subscriber, please go to my website. You can subscribe right there. Please go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. Everything across all my socials is Opal Ellyse, OPALELLYSE, just like you can see on the screen right here. Let's connect. I have a goal of doing, like I said, in, pretty pictures, right? And we got into a conversation on here tonight talking about social media and how it's changed, but I love social media. And I haven't been able to do as much stuff with it as I want to, or even as I used to. I used to do a lot more stuff, and I really want to get back to that because, number one, I always see y'all. Like I said, y'all are kicking it with me. I want to make sure that I'm doing stuff, and I'm always putting together content. I'm always writing. I always have opinions. I always have thoughts, and I just need to really take the time and make the time to put more stuff out there. So, let's continue to connect because I love to connect. There's a few friends of mine and other artists in the industry who also are kind of making an effort to do that. So we're going to be doing a lot of lives together. So tune in for those pieces. So if you're not following me, please do. I'm very active on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I'm active on there, but I'm really just, I give you my Peloton confession. So I should have wrote a poem called Peloton because that would have been in love. I love my Peloton. I ride Peloton 6 days a week without fail. Love it, love it, love it. Peloton's in my studio prayer room. That's how much I love Peloton. So Peloton's like right over here. And yes, okay. So all of my TikToks are really just my Peloton confessions where like I do TikToks because like most folks, after I work out, I get I have clarity, I have wisdom, so I have something to say. So I've been doing Peloton confessions for like 5 years on TikTok. So that's mostly what I do. But yeah, let's connect all the things. I'm still, like I said, I don't call it X, I call it Twitter. I'm still on there, not as much because it's not as fun as it used to be. I'm waiting for Elon to sell it so it can get fun again. But I'm on there. I got a good following on Twitter. I'll see it if you hit me up on there. And YouTube. I want to do way more stuff on YouTube. You can also find me across if you're not into social media. I've got my solo podcast that I do called Queesh, which is me. I've been keeping journals since 1995, so I come each episode with an entry that is from this span from 95 all the way till now, and I connect it to something that is current, an epiphany I'm going through in life, something current event big that we're all experiencing, and I connect that. I have Bossy Posse, which is a podcast with some of my dear best friends, and I have Black Currency Podcast, which is a podcast with myself, Corey Dub, and Bradley DLO Thomas, and we are talking all about finances, specifically and centering the Black community. And it's an educational podcast. And that podcast is people who come on there have actually influenced my life and my finances for the better. So I say go back. We got seasons out. Go ahead and listen to those seasons because it will bless you too. So you can find me everywhere. Right? Just put in OPALELLYSE. You're going to find me. We're going to connect. But again, I just want to say thank you for kicking with me. I love these listening parties. And I'll be doing another one for the one with music. And I'll be going in depth on a lot of these poems. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. Thanks again and have a good night. Peace.